We are going to talk about a movie.
This is gonna be a disaster.
It was one of the best movies of the year.
It's gonna go so well. Probably one of the last movies I would ever want to see in a theater. What is going on, everybody? Taylor and Jacob here, and we're about to do something that we haven't done in quite a while on this channel. We're going to review a movie.
We're going to do a standalone review of a movie.
I know.
This is weird.
It's weird. Weird times we live in. Today we are going to be talking about the highly anticipated movie that you never got to see, but now you're going to get to see it.
Most controversial movie ever made.
That you've never seen.
Yep.
The Hunt.
Yes.
Today we're going to be talking about The Hunt. I have a lot of thoughts about this movie.
So do I.
And I didn't think that I was going to, at least in the sense that I do. I think this movie does a lot well, and I think that it has a lot of faults that really hurt it at the same time.
There's a lot. So I walked out of it with a lot that I really loved and a lot that I really didn't like.
I know. And that's what's so hard about it is the bad stuff is really bad, but the great stuff is great.
And makes me go, I want people to see it for how great these moments are.
Yeah.
But they've got to get through a lot of terrible stuff to get to those great moments.
The thing I want to bring up first is Betty.
Yes.
I think that she's fantastic in this whole movie.
I do too.
She does such a fantastic job with the role. And personally, there is one monologue scene that she does that's worth just watching the whole movie for.
Absolutely.
It's so good. And it's just like, it sucks you in 100%. I felt like this movie had fantastic pacing. Mm-hmm. When it was over, I went, oh, that didn't just string me on.
Yeah, it's very, it's a very well directed, very well paced, very tight. Yes. Well structured movie. Yes. It throws you into it. There's some really great surprises in there. I just have some issues.
I think we both have the same issue, and I kind of want to talk about it because it affects how I see the rest of the movie. The script is awful.
Yes.
I'm not trying to be harsh, but the script is really bad.
The dialogue especially is extremely, it feels cartoonish, but not in a way that complements the rest of the movie.
No, I feel like the dialogue turns it into a satire of itself, where you're just like, this is dialogue that's trying really hard to be edgy.
Yeah.
But instead of being edgy, it's like, I feel like they just went on Twitter and tried to find the most outlandish kind of...
That's what kind of hurts it for me, is that it, instead of, the rest of the film is so... Grounded's the wrong word, but feels very real.
It understands the world that it's in.
Yeah,
the rest of the elements of the film get what it is.
Yes, and then the script comes along and is very... And I'm more meaning for the supporting players. I think Betty has...
Yeah, I think she has good
Her
lines.
dialogue's very good, and I also think that the third act character, who doesn't come in until the end, the main villain of the film, her lines are pretty good too.
I
it's
think
more the rest of the characters.
I think they're okay in the second half. When you first meet her, they're a little bit cringy, but I think that was honestly my main problem with the film, because I don't have a lot of problems. No. It's just that's a very big problem to have that permeates the entire movie. And once you start to get to the third act, it's not as bad because you have those two. You have the main character and the main villain, and their interactions aren't as cartoonish.
No, and that to me is why. Look, ultimately, I'm probably recommending this film for people to see, but what the dialogue stops it from becoming a modern horror classic.
I would agree because I think with the correct dialogue, this movie could drum up a lot of great conversation around what they're trying to say, but because it gets caught up in, and I don't really know what exactly went wrong with how they decided to do the dialogue, but it it does feel like it's being a satire of the movie that it's trying to be, and instead it satirizes itself to the point where it's just ridiculous. One other thing I do want to compliment this movie on is I think the action is great. The choreography is great, and it goes pretty hard with its violence. It doesn't really pull.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes in, and I was basically covering my face the entire time because I'm not great with gore and violence, but it was great. Like, don't get me wrong, it was very well done. I think it is brutal in the best possible ways.
Absolutely.
And I was thoroughly entertained. It's one of those movies where it kept doing enough things to make me really love it, and then someone would talk,
and I'd be like,
oh, why am I doing this? Oh, because this, and this.
If you can look past that, or if you can find a way to appreciate that these characters they're trying to give us are versions of themselves turned all the way up until it's ridiculous, like beyond ridiculous of what most people would actually verbalize, then I think you're going to have a really great time with this movie.
There is a massive audience for this movie. I think there is a lot of people who will thoroughly enjoy it and who will go, this was a modern horror classic. And I think that there will be a lot of people who have that, but for me personally, it just doesn't get there because the dialogue just doesn't land for me.
I would agree, but I would definitely recommend everybody check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below if you have seen it, if you agree, if you disagree. Let's start a dialogue about that, because I think a lot of people will have a lot of very interesting takes about how they feel about this movie, because it explores a lot of different things with what it's trying to say.
So The Hunt is currently streaming on, you can rent it on iTunes, or basically any storefront, really.
You can pretty much find it anywhere, I think, at this point.
For rental.
But you guys should definitely check it out. If you guys want to find us on social media, all of our links are down in the description below. We have our link to our Patreon account. We have links to our Letterboxd if you want to see what else we're watching. Be sure to check out the other shows that we have on our channel. The Tupperware of Destiny, where random drafts happen and we end up with the most interesting Bond casts that I've ever seen. We have 10 Years On, where we talk about movies from 10 years ago, which has been quite an eye-opening journey.
It has, actually.
And we also have a new show where we do movie brackets.
Yes.
Get in, losers. We're doing movie brackets.
It's a lot of fun.
That's a live show. So all the wheels come off and everything goes when you're doing a live show. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the good people?
Guys, make sure you also check out our Streamlabs, where if you are willing and able to donate to our YouTube channel, that would be absolutely fantastic and amazing. And we do have our Patreon down in the description down below.
Thank you guys so much for checking us out, and we will see you next time.